how to have a good relationship from a spiritual perspective or from the new age or the new thought perspective. So when someone comes to me wanting to discuss their relationship and understand it and find a way to make it work better or to improve it, the first part of the process for me is to allow them to speak, allow them to say exactly what's happening from their perspective. And this is such an important part of the process, being able to express freely what you are feeling about this relationship with your partner, without any judgment, without any right or wrong attached. So what this is for me, how I understand this is this is you, and in a way, your inner child speaking freely, possibly for the first time in their lives. Often as little kids, we're told, don't have that emotion, don't have that reaction, don't have that response. Be a good girl, be a good boy, do what you are told. So when somebody is really letting it all hang out and they're expressing what they're feeling with regards to the relationship, in a way, it is the first time possibly that that inner child has been able to be heard. So it is an opportunity for validation for what's been happening with that little child, with what's been happening in this relationship. So let's take it back a couple of steps. Why do we have this specific partner, this specific dynamic, this specific challenge with our partner? It's because they are a frequency match for us. And it's important to understand ultimately that they are there for a very specific reason. So, yes, it is absolutely valid that you are having the feelings that you are having, the reactions that you are having in this relationship. There's no, that you shouldn't be having these reactions, that it's not the right thing or it's a bad thing to be doing. Because the first step is to honor what you are feeling, to be able to express it freely and to be heard. And who is being heard in truth at a deeper level is your inner child. So once we move through that, once we discuss what is happening and acknowledge that it is awful or that it is incredibly challenging, the next step is to look at why is that person behaving the way that they are. So everything that's in your life is helping you grow. So what are we doing here on this planet? We are understanding what it is to be a human being and to live in this world of polarity, in this world of duality. Where we are headed to frequency-wise as we continue to ascend or evolve is a place of non-duality. It is beyond visible light. It is beyond this swing, this polarity that we live in here, this duality. So when we move to that place, we won't be in that swing. We will understand things in a higher perspective. We will understand and be in the flow more. But while we're here, we are energetic beings inhabiting a physical body that is existing in this place of duality. So we are learning about right, wrong, good, bad, bliss and joy and fear. So we are existing and have existed in a number of lifetimes at both ends of that duality to understand it, to gain the wisdom of it, to understand the breadth and depth of that duality. So you and your partner have, in a way, a soul agreement to be together at this time in this specific way, to trigger each other, to be loving towards each other, to have maybe children together. But all aspects of that have a very deep meaning in regards to your growth and your partner's growth. So once we move out of this is happening and he did that or she did that, or I can't help feeling this, we move into that next level up, that big picture level of understanding this dynamic. So how do we work out what it is you're trying to learn? So if you think right now, what's the biggest hitch with your partner? What's the biggest hiccup? What, if you could change one thing, would improve your relationship? So can you find the phrase that defines that? And that phrase might be that he's a narcissist. But who is saying that phrase is your adult self. And what I need you to do is to say that from your inner child's self. What does it mean to that inner child that they are on the receiving end of this treatment or this perspective? What do they feel? And it might be, that phrase might be, he doesn't care about me, or it's all about him. There'll be a phrase that when you say it, you have an emotional reaction in your body. You'll feel a catch in your breath. You'll feel a pain in your heart or a lump in your stomach. Wherever you feel that emotion in relation to that phrase, that sort of gives you the indicator of where it's based. And very generally, if you feel it in your stomach, it's fear. If you feel it in your solar plexus, it's power and powerlessness. If it's in your heart, it's around love. If it's in your throat, like you swallow or you have a lump in your throat when you say that phrase from that inner child's perspective, it's around being heard, about expressing. So this is a very general explanation of why we are feeling what we are feeling. So if it is, say, for example, he can't hear me, or it's all about him, that phrase encapsulates what your unfinished business is. So if you're not heard, what you are being asked to learn, again, very generally, because it would be something that is specific to each person. But if you're not heard, what you have experienced over and over again in this life, and more than likely other lives, is not being able to express yourself. You're not being, that what you say has no value, or what you say has no importance in the grand scheme of things. So what your soul is trying to get you to understand is that you are worthy to be heard. So everything that stops you feeling like you can be heard and be allowed to be heard needs to be felt, needs to be transmuted. So you understand that the other side is, I can be heard, I'm worthy to be heard, I need to be heard. So in the moment of being triggered by that person and they cannot hear what your needs are, or hear your side of the story, or hear your opinion, it is to feel that grief or that anger or whatever it is related to that moment of not being heard, and to breathe it and to feel it and to understand this is an old pattern that is trying to be healed. So when you take responsibility for what's going on inside of you and your reactions, and you turn and face them, this starts the transformation process of that energy. This starts that change in that portion of your frequency signature. Now, I've said this in another video about mirroring, and there is a specific video on mirroring on my YouTube channel. So here's your partner and here's you. You have an issue I'm never heard. So this person is there to send that energy to you so that you are triggered. So they are a being, a person that energetically and frequency-wise and personality-wise is not able to hear you, maybe doesn't want to hear you, doesn't value what you have to say. So they are sending the energy that I don't need to hear this person. This person has no, I don't need to hear what they've got to say. They have no value. And you feel that frequency, you feel that concept, or you even hear those words from them, and it triggers you. And you are triggered to be angry back, or you are triggered to be victimized, or you are triggered in certain ways, very specific to you. And you send that energy, that concept, or those words back to your partner. They are triggered by your energy, by your words, sometimes consciously, sometimes subconsciously, and they send that back. So you and your partner are doing this ad infinitum. Now, what the idea is of this evolutionary process is that one of you wakes up, maybe both of you wake up, and you say, I'm going to now take responsibility, and I'm not going to let myself knee-jerk react to this. I'm not going to let myself be triggered by this. So when you understand this dynamic, when you understand this energy exchange, that it's only happening to allow growth in this partner and it's allowing growth in that partner. When you understand this, that this is your issue that you've been trying to resolve, possibly for a few lifetimes, and you try the best you can not to send that energy back. If you do, that's okay. Find compassion for yourself and watch yourself do it if you can. Here we go again, I'm angry. Here we go again, I'm sending this energy back. But as soon as you can, step away and start feeling how you felt when you weren't heard. Feel it here, feel it within your system, and let go of what is triggering you. Let go of that person's impact on you, and just let it be about an energy. Just let it be about a frequency, a sensation that's anchored in your system, which is a part of your energy signature. When you look at it, when you observe it, when you feel it, you begin the transmutation. So what happens is you come back to the partner and you are different to them. You are not, you could be slightly above it, you may be way above this energy. So two things can happen with your partner at this point. They can then, or in a way, be given permission to rise and meet you at this level. They can be given permission to interact with you now at a different frequency. But sometimes that partner is not ready. Sometimes they still have more triggering to do. And they are wanting that energy exchange because in a way it's a habit, in a way it's an addiction to have this going on. And when you cannot stop talking about what is happening, when you cannot let go of the story and you go over it and over it with friends or relatives and talking about what he's done or what she's done or what she could do, you are needing that energy exchange. You are needing that trigger because every time you are thinking about it and talking about it, you are releasing chemicals that are in relation to that issue. Estukumoki kabatsia tushteo shambakita, ezitiste stumbokoya. Iko kapakike katsia testushtomoki ketsibiteka, ezatuyo shomoyo takamoya tsaati sheshana. Inge kokatsia testushtakumuya zetushea. Inge zaatia shushashia takamia. Ekekaboyo te shushandamoki kamaka. Ezatiosha estoyo shoshumbio kotaya. So the second thing that can happen, if they're not ready to rise, they're looking for that energy exchange. They're looking for that chemical hit of that energy exchange. They're waiting for this to come back. And when it doesn't, whether they realize it or not, they are experiencing a loss. So what they are doing is they turn and look and try and find some other person that will continue on that energy exchange with them. So they may look and go and find someone else at that level. It doesn't always mean that they turn and find somebody else. If they're ready, they will come with you, and you will move up and up as you learn and grow together. And that's what it is to be in a evolving relationship, that each partner takes responsibility for their emotions and their reactions and are willing to discuss this from a higher perspective rather than from you did this and you did that and you should be doing this and you should be doing that. So once you've gotten through that stage, because that's a natural part of being a human, to actually define what's going on, what's happening in your life to you and all of these things, it's important to be able to define it, as I said, because of the little child needing to be heard, the little child needing to be validated. And often, as I said, they weren't. They were smacked for having this emotion, or they were put into a timeout because they were not behaving in a manner that the parent thought was right. So absolutely acknowledge where you are, absolutely. But then if you can move up and understand it from this higher frequency. And what happens is, as you communicate what's going on and where this relates to and how this has been a pattern, you start doing this with each other and you start interacting and helping each other move up this ladder of evolution. So what I'd like you to do now is to feel into the energy of the problem that you are having with your partner. So if, for example, he can't hear you or she doesn't hear you, how does that feel, not being heard? And I want you to drop into your body and feel that feeling in your system that's related to that thought, I'm not heard. And I'm going to bring through some language to help change that frequency, make it something, like transmute it into the next step, into the next phase. So just settle into your body, let go of everything outside of the room. And I want you to just breathe and feel the physical manifestation behind I'm not heard, or it's all about him, whatever that phrase is, spoken from the perspective of an inner child. Surrender and soften and open and breathe and feel as best you can that feeling. Ishendo kayusha shiana makie. Yanayo bayakakia tsayo testayo mokokea. Ize tushtaya akamoike kabateka. Ezutuyo shoya eshuyana. Ingekokatsa testia shushambakike makike. Ize teosha akamokika bayataka. Ize tushtekemikeka. Ezutuya shashio pokoyatakamiaka. Ezeyataka makike. Idokoya. Istoshtakomokika makike. Ezutuyo shusha jobiato tuliambakike. Ezutuyo shusha komokika makike. Ezutoya. Siote mayatiki dayotoko ye namayande gekakayota meye wai. Esuye nama. Esuye moyondaya takamakiketsa. Estushtaya. Estushtaya kamiyakaka. and breathe. So hope that's helped. Hope that's given you a different perspective and an opportunity to release the energies around this old program. And that's all it is. It isn't the truth of this reality. It is the past hanging over us. It is the past energy still manifesting and collapsing into this reality. So enjoy this new perspective. Start looking at all of your interactions with this new perspective and start breathing and feeling it when taking that other thing out of the picture and just feeling that sensation. So if you haven't already, sign up to my mailing list on the link beneath this. And I have a workbook also that has lots of different processes in it to use in each of these moments that you are triggered, to help you process and feel it and let it go. So have a fabulous day. Estuia mokika makika sa ati stestusta komokika makike. Ije stuyama. Iste stuyama. Esuya tatu me kokatiria mate este kokamakaka. Eziti uste komuya sa atie. E yotakama. Estu ste ojenama. I de kokaya. Saka akiketsu uste mukea. Inge kobokuka. Estaya, estaya, estaya. Much love. Bye-bye.